The 2022 State of Local Government report indicates that 66 municipalities are dysfunctional. Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs Minister Thembi Nkadimeng has revealed that the number of dysfunctional municipalities has increased, but feels there is reason for optimism. Now, she was addressing the media yesterday on the latest developments in municipal support and intervention. She also announced that government intends to regulate the motions of no confidence across the various metros and municipalities. Minister Nkadimeng joins us now to discuss this matter further. Minister, thank you for your time. It's good to have you here on Morning Live.
Good morning, Leanne, and good morning to your listeners.
I think just the opening sentence sort of gives us a negative feeling of 66 municipalities that are dysfunctional, but you feel there is reason to be optimistic. Why? Why is that?
Thank you very much, Leanne. There are 257 municipalities in South Africa. So if only 66 are dysfunctional, it means 191 have got systems in place to be able to deliver services. They could be able to account for the services they've delivered in the accountability framework. They could be able to put plans and systems in place to run a functional municipality. So in our assessment criteria, we have got a medium and low risk and stable municipality, which is a division of these 191 municipalities. And really that reflects in how our systems of local government have been placed to say about 74% of our municipalities are cutting the corner towards the right direction. Of course, there are challenges which move beyond even the 66 with regard to functionality or dysfunctionality measure. But the question here is, what are we ourselves doing as CoGTA to assist those municipalities to cut the corner towards the correct direction? And that's what the most of my address was about.
Yeah. I mean, many people that live in those 66 municipalities may disagree with you and be sort of saying, yeah, but Minister, that's not good enough. I mean, we say that, yes, there are those that are performing well, but those that are not performing well are in a dire position. And I think you can admit to that it's unacceptable how some municipalities are being run at the moment.
Well, Leanne, and there's municipal support improvement plans and intervention plan in all the 66, but beyond, we actually have a total of 154. We have placed experts, we have started rolling out projects ourselves as national and provinces, allowed by the law to deliver services to those people. We confidently took the president to Mfuleni, not that everything is all right. For example, we took him to one area. We couldn't, because of time, go to the Everton area where there's still sewer challenges, but the contractor is on site to deal with the areas to ensure that we deal with this case of sanitation and sewer control. We have got the report, which was not necessarily positive, but we have put intervention plans on Blue Drop and Green Drop, update as per what the Department of Water and Sanitation was talking about. We've looked into policy enhancement and administration support to ensure that these municipalities are able to function. But key to the message is that in comparison to last year, this time and in November and now, when you look into municipalities, our MIC is almost at about 88% spent, which means we will be able to reach the 95% target, which we are targeting for ourselves. And where are we spending this money? We are running audits, we are refusing to pay salaries where it doesn't make sense. We're doing all those things, but pumping all the money into planning, reinforcement of infrastructure, that is maintenance, repairs, and capacity building for all those municipalities. Of course, having placed experts, of which in total now, in all the municipalities, we've placed around 39 experts from various areas, but mainly from the engineering sector, to be able to assist our municipalities to roll those projects out. So I am very confident that we are turning the corner.
Minister, it's hard to believe it. I mean, if we just look at the visuals that we're running at the moment of the state of certain municipalities, I mean, the fact that 45% of South Africa's municipalities receive poor audit outcomes in 2021, 2022, that there is no there's no promise of a better life for people. People are living in absolute adverse conditions. I mean, to talk about sewage that's running down streets, to talk about people dying from drinking water, to talk about people that don't have the proper infrastructure, that the basic services are not being delivered to the people of South Africa. You know, I think people have run out of optimism. The roads look like they do. And I know that there's various departments that come in, but the bottom line is this is the running of local municipalities, and this is what they look like. It's a dire situation.
Well, Leanne, yes, you start by putting the systems in place, which is what had been the area of difficulty which we had. And I think we've passed that area. But we also had a problem, which you all know, was about consequence management. Quite a number of what has been raised by the AG, the systems has not been put in place. And we've run quite a number of all those adjustments and policy gaps, and almost all of them have passed through even Parliament now and been assented into law. The code of conduct for the very same councillors to be able on how to behave themselves so that they could master and deliver the services. The challenge we're sitting with, Leanne, is not the allocation of funds per se. Yes, local government could be getting minimal of the biggest part, about 10%, and 90% goes to provinces and national and state-owned entities. But the biggest challenge we had was to spend little, and where we've spent, there will be very minimum accountability. But you could realize, even on the report that you are indicating now, is showing a downward spiral. For example, in cases of municipalities who did not submit their annual financial statement by the end of August, we're actually left with 6, and we're moving down from, up from a pillar of around 69 to around 6. So which means we're enforcing the responsibility of council to be compliant to the Auditor General and to you of what has happened to your money. And then it looks into the quality. We're looking into the performance management below executive management to force all municipal workers to be accountable for the time that they spend at work, what have they done, so that they could equitably be paid. The system had been run down for quite some time. To turn around it, yes, will take a bit of some time, but we are applying a Section 20 of the DORA, which says ourselves as a national government and provincial government must not be locked in trying to resolve all the issues, but must create a parallel system which delivers services directly to the people to ensure that while you are fixing the challenges of systems and structures, you equally deliver services. We have handed over contractors to the city of eThekwini as well, jointly with the mayor, to look into the issues of the sewer that was flowing into the sea. We are in Mahikeng, the sewer on the streets. The deputy president has assigned teams into Kopanong to deal with the sewer and the Jagasfontein crisis. If you look into Gauteng, we are in Sidibeng, we are in Mfuleni. If you look into Mpumalanga, we're in Kapernebek, we're in Tabatwe. If you look into Limpopo, we're in Mogalakwena, we're in Lepelle-Nkumbi. So we're in a total of about 40 municipalities from a national and a provincial level to deliver those services. And I do think we'll be moving, ticking the correct boxes going forward to ensure that everybody sees and realize the change of what local government and municipalities should be about.
Well, one would certainly hope, and also, you know, with elections around the corner, I can imagine that we will see ANC officials and other parties out and about doing their best to get votes, and this is what happens, but it's what happens afterwards. I mean, when we look at clean audits, I mean, it's just, it's a dire picture when you look around what's happening. We've just got numbers. 38 out of 257 municipalities receive clean audits. 38 out of 257. There's fruitless and wasteful expenditure, irregular expenditure, and nobody seems to be held accountable. That is the biggest problem.
That's the consequence framework that I spoke about.
So I want to talk more about, let's talk more about that, Minister, because that's one of the questions that we're actually asking today, that's here on the program, is an intervention that certainly you want to bring about and you want to see happening, is actually looking that municipal office bearers can only be removed from office after a 2-year tenure or under prescribed conditions. Talk to us a little bit about that to create stability and coalition governments. I want to go there now.
Look, office bearers, if you don't control it now, let's look at the number of motion of no confidence that often prevail and with no guidance and no areas of legislation. And on slightest provocation, there's a motion of no confidence and there's a disruption in office bearers. And I think what is of importance is, if you reflect back in 2016 to 2021, for example, in Nelson Mandela Bay, they didn't build a single house under their human settlement budget. They turned around 500 million over to the fiscus in 5 financial years. And the question, the answer there, or the issue was, Leanne, there were about 5 or 6 mayors in Nelson Mandela Bay for the term of 5 years. Now, to plan a settlement, you need to do roads, you need to put lights, you need to create road reserves and all that. You need to do bulk services. So you are Mayor A and you plan in 18 months, you're out, and I don't continue with your plan because I don't come from your party, I go to another area before I finish planning it. So you can't build a house in the field. So they turn the money back. So what are we saying as CoGTA? We're saying there could be 2 fundamental areas in which you will remove an office bearer. You will remove if I'm not accountable as a mayor and I'm violating the law. Or you will remove if I'm also not accountable in terms of delivering of services. There's an IDP, there are targets, there's councils that must sit, there's reports that must come to trace on how much are we doing, and there isn't work that is happening. That makes sense. But you can't remove on the basis that this party is now angry with this party and they are no longer friends, or they are no longer politically aligned, as they say, and therefore they pull a plug on their residents.
Yeah. So you're trying to get more stability, but however, obviously there has to be, as you say, this regulation on the number of motions of no confidence in councils. But yes, what happens if a person is found to violate the constitutional law, misconduct, inability to perform these kind of things? Is that an exceptional circumstance?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Remember, you as a mayor or an office bearer, you're accountable to council. By law, every 3 months, you must take a Section 52 report and you must take a Section 71 report to National Treasury. Section 71 look directly into the finances of the municipality, your liquidity ratio, are you financially viable? Where have you spent the money? Who are the contractors? What have you allocated them to? You must take that report to council. It's mandatory. The same Section 52 looks into the other aspects, governance and all that. How are you running the systems? If you are found faltering in any of the 2, by the way, the law says then you are not efficient, which means council must hold you accountable. And if they decide that they don't have confidence in you to deliver the services as aligned in the IDP, they can and they should remove you.
And I think a lot of viewers
but what have
would
you
agree.
Seen as an experience now?
Yeah.
It has nothing to do, in most instances, with services. It has nothing to do with fraud and corruption. Yeah. It has got with everything to do with provocation. Leanne is wearing green today, and I don't like that color. I like a purple, and therefore, please, we quickly call an agent meeting. There's not even a report on the table of what Leanne has done wrong or what is done right.
Indeed.
But we're secondly saying we need to publicize the agreements.
I have to speak to you. I get your point, and I think so do the viewers in terms of this motion, because it is a very frustrating thing to witness going through. I mean, sitting in the city of Johannesburg is one example of it, going through so many mayors in such a short amount of time and nothing gets done, and that's a big problem. But I want to talk about, and very quickly, because we're really running into news now, government is also reinforcing the code of conduct of councillors. Councillors are the direct contact with communities. That code of conduct, what is the intention of the code of conduct, and why is it not enforced when we see how some of these councillors behave?
It's only 2 months old, and it's being enforced in 2 municipalities. Popular, eTshwane, city of eThekwini. You would have seen videos and clips, and we're taking them into the process of how the code insists that they must behave. But it goes beyond behavior. It enforces accountability of the same reports, that have said they must. If they don't receive them, there is a process in which they must follow. And if they don't follow it, they would have violated the code. You can't sit for 12 months and not report misgiving or misdoing by a particular member. And by that way, you are by omission not acting into what the benefits of the citizen of that municipality are supposed to get. So give it a chance. It's new. I've been taken to task, but we've passed it and we are enforcing it. And we do believe we're enforcing it for the goodness, not only of CoGTA, but for South Africans themselves to be able to get benefits out of their hard-earned living.
Indeed.
That they are supposed to get services from government.
Indeed, and Minister, and also on the whole municipal infrastructure support agent for upskilling people that are working in the communities and the municipal officers and officials, because I'd like to invite you for the separate talk on that, but because it is 8 o'clock, we need to wrap that up. But upskilling municipal officers is massive to do the job properly. In some instances, councillors, municipal officers not being able to even read or write. That is a huge issue that municipalities go through, but we have to leave it there. That was the Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs Minister Thembi Nkadimeng speaking about the latest developments in municipal support and intervention.